Hey, everybody. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. I am coming to you raw and unfiltered. I've actually asked my podcast editor not to do any edits to this particular podcast. Normally, she would fix the lighting or sounds or whatever the case may be. I'm coming to you raw and unfiltered, as they say. The only thing I did today was put some eyebrows on. So I had a meeting earlier this morning with my accountability partner. So I wanted to at least have on my face, so to speak. But I did something in the last week that I'm proud and not proud of. And it didn't lead to the results that I was hoping for. And so I sit here today wanting to share more of that with you. Hey, girl, have you been looking for a safe space for women to have authentic conversations around everything that impacts our life, careers, and relationships? I'm Shy Boston, and on this show, I talk about all things connected to our personal and professional development so we can live our best and authentic lives. Grab a drink, sit back, and let's have a chat. It's time for some coffee, cocktails, and clarity. So last week, I hyper-focused on a project that I was working on, which was for a keynote speaking session I was doing. It was a 30-minute virtual global event. And I had to learn a whole new software system online because I hadn't used the system before. And that was what I was going to use to build out my landing pages and my sales funnel and so forth. And you already know me, I'm not very detail oriented. I don't necessarily like learning new systems, but I had to learn this one. And it was a pretty painful experience. In addition to having to make sure I wrote my keynote, having to make sure I had my slides together, and all these other things that go into putting on even just a 30-minute live virtual event. And I was doing this with hundreds of other women. There was 100 of us that were speaking or live. Most of us were live. There were, or I should say not most of us, quite a few of us were live. And there were quite a few that did pre-recorded sessions. And when you do something pre-recorded, it makes it easier because you can then edit out and put it on the way that you want. But I was one of the live speakers and very excited about it. And I am so glad that I did it and worked with the women that I worked with. It was absolutely amazing. But in the process of having to learn all these things, I literally was pulling 24 and 36-hour days, working on all the pieces that had to come together, learning all the things I needed to learn. And then the day came. By the way, I forgot to mention that I'm drinking water. I've talked over the last couple of episodes about how I'm trying to drink more water. So let me take a sip because my throat really is starting to bother me. It's drier weather now. Excuse me, getting ready for fall. Or I think we just jumped into summer. Not summer, but winter here in Atlanta. But anyway, so I did all this preparation, all this work, super excited, getting pumped up by my support system. I do my 30-minute virtual training, talked about the special offer that I had at the end of it, and took a breath. 24 hours later, I had no sales. Had gotten lots of compliments from people about how wonderful the training was, that they wanted to learn more and all these different things. No sales. 24 hours after that, no sales. So it's not the first time I've experienced this. If you're an entrepreneur, you know the challenges that can come from when you're launching new products. You know the challenges that can come from putting your heart and soul into doing something and there's no results. It did not change the fact that I felt so dejected. It did not change the fact that my feelings were hurt because As you all know, I'm neurodivergent. I have ADHD, but I also have something that comes coupled with that called rejection sensitivity dysmorphia. And so that makes your getting rejected, I should say, not getting rejection necessarily, but getting rejected, or feeling like you've been rejected, it amplifies it to an exponential degree. And that's what I was feeling in this case. And I was devastated and I felt like a failure. And I don't have a fear of failure. It's just that I was trying to reach a very specific goal. And when I couldn't do that, I felt like I let certain ones down who I was trying to reach that goal for. So I felt all of this and it didn't feel good. How about you? Has there something you've been trying to achieve lately and you feel like no matter what you did, it just didn't come to fruition? It didn't feel good. Maybe it was a project you worked on. Maybe it was something that you were doing for somebody else out of the goodness of your heart and they didn't appreciate it. Maybe it was something you were trying to do for yourself and the money fell short or the plans had to get changed. A lot of these things happen to us in a variety of different ways. And the reason why I wanted to come to you this way, raw, unfiltered, unedited, was because I wanted you to understand we all go through these challenges. It's okay to feel what we feel. It's okay to sit in it for a moment. I've talked about this in the past. I call it, sometimes you put your big girl panties on and you just sit there, all comfy and you cry. And then at some point, you got to get up and put on your thongs and shake your shimmy, sister, and keep it pushing. So that's where I am at this point. And I hope that's where you'll get to. I want to encourage you to feel what you feel. And then I want you to think about, what's your plan B? How are you still going to achieve that goal that you wanted to achieve? And have you put it into place? Have you even thought about a plan B? Did you have a plan B before you even started down this path with this plan? Whether you are looking at the possibility of losing a job, if you're looking at the possibility of remaining in the government shutdown and not getting a check for a while, if you're an entrepreneur or solopreneur and you're trying to launch your products, or you've been successful and you're trying to shift gears and something isn't working out, did you already start with a plan B, C, D, E, F all the way through? Or did you only rely on this one thing? So I say that because even though I felt down in the dumps and still feel some type of way, the other part of me said, I learned some new systems that I hadn't learned. I am not a system person, like I said, and not very detail oriented. And it took hours to learn the system. But now that I've learned it and I've got it down pat, I've got a tool that I can use going forward in my business that I would not have known or used otherwise. I've now learned how to do something and how to work around the system when it wasn't working for me the way that I wanted to. I look back on what I did and I'm proud of what I trained, and I see what I want to tweak and I see what I want to keep. I also had a plan B and a plan C, and those are going into effect. So even though we have these letdowns, even though we have these challenges, we're going to feel, as one of my besties says, you're going to feel the sting. And that sting is going to hurt, but it is going to be temporary. It's what we do when we get the sting that makes the difference. You can leave the stinger in, or, like when you get a bee sting, you can leave that stinger in, or you can get those tweezers and pull that stinger out and then apply some medicine on it so you can start healing. So today, I'm pulling the stinger out. I'm applying some salve so I can feel better. And for me, that salve was talking to my accountability partner. It was talking to a friend of mine who could really understand my thoughts and feelings. And she ended up taking a load off of me for something that I was worried about. That meant prayer for me. For some of you, that might mean some meditation. It might be exercise. It might be getting up and singing DMX at the top of your lungs. For others, it might be going and just being around other people, whatever it is that works for you. Take the stinger out and put the salve on it. I'm not minimizing anything that anyone is going through, because there are some serious hardships going on out there. I have friends impacted by the current government shutdown. I have friends who have been laid off and been looking for work, not for weeks, but for months, some even for a couple of years, looking for good, honest, steady work. There are others of us that are entrepreneurs that have been extremely successful, that are dealing with challenges in our families, the health and caring of family members. There are others who are struggling to get their products out there and trying to generate sales. There's so many things going on. So we have to find what works to ground us. We have to find what works to bring us a measure of peace. And we always, always have to find our plan B. So I'm going to encourage you to take some time today. If you haven't worked through additional plans, if you're feeling too overwhelmed to work through plans, do what you have to do to bring yourself a measure of peace and a measure of comfort. And then what I want you to do is to take some time and start thinking about, what can I do next? There's a lot of things out of our control, a lot. I get that. I'm dealing with some health challenges now that are out of my control. I have to undergo some testing tomorrow. There are going to be a lot of things that are completely out of our control. I want us to talk about and think about the things that are within our control. What can we do and what can we plan to try to help us to move forward? Will it be easy? By no means. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it is. I still have not met the goal that I want to meet. I don't know if I'm going to meet that goal. And that's also kind of bothering me too. But I'm not giving up. As long as I can continue to do what I can do, as long as I keep putting the other plans that I have put into place out there, as long as I keep talking to those that can help me think of other plans, my support systems, great. And if you don't have a support system and you need one, reach out to me. Reach out to me on the socials. There's always information at the end of the show notes. You can go to fanlist.com/coffee cocktails clarity and leave me a private message. You can put something in the comments. I'll come be your support system for you. Now, I can't financially support you because I'm trying to do that for myself. But I will be there to help support you. Because with support systems and plans, we have a measure of control. We can see a way forward. We can see that the light at the end of the tunnel is not actually a train. It's our hope. And I hope you have a better day today. And that whatever disappointments you might be dealing with, whatever challenges that you are dealing with, whatever whatever's on your plate right now, my hope for you is that it becomes more manageable. And as it becomes more manageable, I hope that you too can see the light. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to chat with me. If you want to continue the conversation, follow me on social media. I'm at Shy Boston on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. I hope you have a good rest of the day and a restful night. I'll see you next time for more coffee, cocktails, and clarity.